What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at the Bard class in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, which is currently in beta, as well as all of the Bard class's archetypes. Now, this class has the base class, of course, as well as 6 archetypes, which change how the class plays. Now, a couple things right off the bat. I'm not a Pathfinder savant. The Bard class is surprisingly in-depth. So with that said, I do apologize if I miss any specific thing, but I will try to cover as much as I possibly can here. Now, the other thing I want to mention right off the bat is that Bards are in fact casters. They get their own spell book. Specifically, the Bard spellbook. Now, they are spontaneous casters, which means that they can cast any spell they know, but it's only so many times per day. They don't have to prepare their spells. Moreover, as spellcasters, they get their bonus from Charisma. They will get bonus spell slots, as well as have a minimum requirement of Charisma to cast their spells. But with those things out of the way, let's get into what a Bard actually is. So when you pick a Bard, the class skills you can pick are literally all of them. So the Bard has proficiency in all class skills. Now, the actual Bard proficiencies are all simple weapons, plus the longsword, rapier, short sword, and short bow. They are also proficient with light armor and shields. Now here's where this gets a little more complicated. So the Bard can cast Bard spells while wearing light armor and using a shield without incurring the normal arcane spell failure from wearing armor. However, if you are wearing a medium or heavy armor, it incurs the penalty like normal. Moreover, if you are a multi-class Bard, your spells from other classes are still affected by that arcane spell failure chance. Only the Bard spells in light armor are exempted from it. Now, being spellcasters, they also get access to some cantrips. These are 0-level spells that don't cost spell slots to use and generally deal small amounts of damage. Moreover, the base class gets Inspire Courage regardless of what you're doing. This is where I want to talk about Bardic performances. Bards get performances. Now, typically these come in like Inspire Courage or Inspire Competence and stuff like that, but essentially a Bard will get to perform, and either allies or enemies that are able to see the Bard or perceive the performance, so outside of like a mental condition or something like that that would, exclude them from being able to perceive the performance, will then be affected by whatever bonus or detriment the performance gives. Now for the base class, that starts at level 1 with Inspire Courage. Then we also get Bardic Knowledge. So a Bard will add half their class level to all knowledge and lore skill checks and can make those skill checks untrained. Furthermore, all Bards will be able to use Detect Magic, which primarily comes up in dialogue, but basically they'll be able to discern if something is magical and what spell or school of magic that spell belongs to. Inspire Courage is like the primary performance for a base class Bard. This will give you a +1 morale bonus on saving throws against charm and fear effects, as well as a competence bonus against attack and weapon damage rolls. And then this will increase as you level up. Then, starting at 3rd level, a base class Bard will pick up Inspire Competence. So this gives you competence bonuses on all of the skill checks that your party that is within the performance is performing. Now, you will also get Bard talents, pretty much regardless of what archetype you choose. Now, Bard talents are actually rogue talents, and you'll get them every few levels. It does change a little bit depending on which archetype you get, but suffice to say you will be able to pick essentially rogue talents every few levels, which hopefully I've got up on screen for you here. Now, as a base class, we will also be able to pick up Well-Versed, which will make your Bard resistance to other people's Bardic performances, as well as just sonic effects in general, such as sonic spells and things like that. You'll also get a +4 bonus on the saving throws made against those things. Now, along that line, you will also get Inspire Greatness, which is a performance that will give you extra hit dice, which will give you temporary health, as well as a +2 competence bonus on attack rolls and a +1 competence bonus on fortitude saves. At level 12, they will access a Soothing performance, which will let them cast the equivalent of a Mass Cure Serious Wounds spell, which will additionally remove Fatigued, Sickened, and Shaken condition from those affected, but it does require 4 rounds of continuous performance. And then that will lead into Inspire Heroics. So this will give a +4 morale bonus on saving throws and a +4 dodge bonus to your AC, and is again just one of the various types of performances. And then we start getting performances that will actually affect enemies. So at 6th level we can pick up Fascinate. This will essentially pacify creatures that, don't make their save against the Fascinate performance. However, any damage to these targets will automatically break the effect. Then we can pick up Dirge of Doom at 8th level, which can afflict enemies with the Shaken status, which is like a pre-status to fear. Then at 14th level, they can pick up Frightening Tune, which is a performance that will cause fear in their targets, in which case the target will become frightened and flee for as long as they can hear the performance, provided they don't make their spell save. And then lastly, on the afflicting enemies side of things, at level 20, bards can pick up the Deadly Performance ability, which will let you use your performance to cause one enemy to die from joy or sorrow. If the creature succeeds, then they don't die, of course. However, they will still be staggered for several rounds, and they can't use the ability, the bard that is, again on that creature for a full day. And then we have Bardic Performance, which will actually make our Bardic Performance from a standard action all the way down to a swift action as we level up. Now, that is going to bring us to our first archetype, the Archaeologist. The Archaeologist drops pretty much all of the performance stuff for the sake of picking up a lot of rogue talents. Now, not through the Bardic Talent rogue talents, you don't get more that way. You'll actually just pick up some various rogue stuff, such as, for starters, Archaeologist Luck. This will give you +1 luck bonuses to attack rolls, saving throws, skill checks, weapon damage rolls. You can use it, basically like a performance, essentially. However, it only affects the Archaeologist, and it is actually treated as a performance for the sake of feats, abilities, effects, and just like that. That bonus does increase as you level up as well. We also pick up Evasion. So Evasion will make the Archaeologist actually completely take no damage from any spell that would cause a reflex saving throw. So any kind of attack that, calls for a reflex saving throw, if the Archaeologist succeeds, they don't take any damage as opposed to half damage. Unless, of course, they're paralyzed or something like that. And then they get the Jack of all trades ability, which gives a +1 bonus to all skill checks. They also pick up Clever Explorer, which will give the Archaeologist a bonus equal to half their level on trickery and perception checks, as well as Confident Explorer. So this will allow them to always take 10 on trickery checks or roll normally, so they can pick one. And then they also get Danger Sense, which will give them extra bonuses against traps, as well as perception checks to avoid being surprised by a foe. They also pick up Uncanny Dodge, which helps them from being caught flat-footed. And then at level 10, they can also start picking up the advanced rogue talents through their bardic talents. Now, that brings us to the Beast Tamer. So the Beast Tamer is kind of like a summoner, basically, and they will be able to use a Beast Call ability to actually summon nature's ally. First things first, they also get a few less of the rogue talents as a bit of a trade-off for some of this, as well as losing some of their bardic performances. They do not get Inspire Courage or Inspire Competence, or some of the fear stuff that I mentioned as well. The performance they get is called Inspire Ferocity, which will affect their summoned and pet allies as well, bolstering them against fear. So this will give you a +1 morale bonus on charm and fear effects, as well as a +1 competence bonus on attack and weapon damage rolls, and then that increases as you level up a bit. Now let's talk about the summoning. So this works as spontaneous summoning. So bards being spellcasters, they can, as a Beast Tamer, actually choose to spend their prepared spells in order to cast a Summon Nature's Ally spell of the same level or lower. More importantly, they can use Beast Call. So starting at first level, a Beast Tamer can summon a Nature's Ally. So it's basically a spell-like ability. It's not a spell-like ability. And they can do it a number of times per day, which is 3 plus their Charisma modifier. And they can normally cast this as a standard action, and instead of lasting 1 round per level, the creature will last for 1 minute per level. Starting at 3rd level, the power of Beast Call increases the spell level of the ability, which will allow you to summon more powerful creatures, basically increasing the Summon Nature's Ally spell level. However, you can only have one of these active at a time. So this starts with Summon Nature's Ally 1, of course, which summons a Might, and then it just kind of increases from there. There's a lot of these, so I'm not going to go over all of them. However, at 2nd level, the Beast Tamer does get Augment Summoning, which is going to give you a +4 enhancement bonus to the Strength and Constitution for any creature you summon for the duration of the spell that summoned it. And then at later levels, this will actually also increase your Inspire Ferocity to give extra bonuses to the affected targets, i.e. your summons. So this just makes them stronger as you level up. So that brings us to the Durge Bard. Real quick, the Durge Bard doesn't lose that much from not being a base class bard. They lose things like well-versed, but for the most part, they lose precious little for choosing this. But what they gain is things like Haunted Eyes. So at 2nd level, they'll get a +4 bonus to saves on Fear, Curse, Death effects, and Necromantic effects. And then they also pick up Secrets of the Grave at the same level. So this will give you a bonus to lore religion checks, as well as letting you use mind-affecting spells to affect the undead as if they were living creatures. And even more, this will actually add a few necromantic spells to their list of spells known at certain levels, which you should be able to see on screen here. And then they pick up at level 10 Dance of the Dead, which works a lot like the Animate Dead spell, but it's not tagged as evil. And moreover, this is a performance ability, so once this stops, the creatures immediately end, so it won't persist outside of the performance. That brings us to Flame Dancer. So, Flame Dancers are pretty cool in my opinion. They will, however, lose the Inspire Competence bardic performance and several of the fear-related performances that affect enemies that I mentioned for the base class. However, they do pick up Fire Dance, which is a performance that will give allies within 30 feet of the bard fire resistance up to 30 once it maxes out at level 11. And then at level 8, Flame Dancers will pick up Fan the Flames. This will actually just add Burning Arc, Burning Hands, and the Fireball spells to the list of bard spells that they know, which are 1st, 2nd, and 3rd level spells. Now that takes us to Thundercaller. So for Thundercaller, Bardic Knowledge gets replaced with Bound to the Land. So this gives you half your level for lore nature checks. And then you also pick up Thundercall. So this will let you basically release a very loud sound as part of your performance, and then every creature in the area takes sonic damage or succeed from a fortitude save. Now, even if creatures that cannot hear are in the performance, they won't be stunned, but they will still take the damage. And then that increases as you level up, of course. We also pick up Stormcall at 8th level, which then improves. However, at a base, your performance will summon bolts of lightning, which continues as long as your performance continues. And moreover, in a stormy area, this will actually increase in damage by a lot. So Kingmaker had storms that you could walk into, so I'm curious if this would be affected by those, but I haven't seen those in beta yet, so just letting you guys know. And then lastly, we get Incite Rage for our enemies. Now, while this will basically put them into a rage, which will give them bonuses, it will, however, prevent them from casting spells. So in theory, if you could use that on, say, like a wizard or something, you would basically render them almost harmless. And then we make our way to Tranquil Whisperer. Tranquil Whisperer loses their normal Inspire Courage, Inspire Competence, and it gets replaced with Inspire Tranquility. This will give a +1 morale bonus to armor class, as well as suppress the effects of rage, and that will increase as you level up. They do also lose their Deadly Performance ability at level 20. However, they do still get to use their normal fear performances that I also mentioned as part of the base class. Starting at 7th level, they will get some unique things relating to their Tranquility Inspire. So at 7th level, this will grant morale bonuses to saving throws against mind-affecting effects, equal to the AC bonus. Then at level 13, they will get Tranquil Senses. This is going to grant blind sense within 10 feet range, which, if my memory serves, lets you spot hidden enemies. And then at level 20, to replace Deadly Performance, they get what is called Tranquil Apotheosis. So this will alter the Tranquil Whisperer's mind completely and grants immunity to confusion and mind-affecting effects. Moreover, your character will then actually be considered an outsider as opposed to whatever they actually are. So there you go, guys. There is the Bard mechanics as well as the 6 archetypes that go along with it. Now, personally, I'm not a huge fan of Bards, just in general. Like, they're great support classes. They obviously can do a lot of good for your party through their performances. However, I'm just not a fan of them in general. I will say, I'm impressed at how in-depth this class is, because they have a lot going on. Like, there's just a ton of stuff here compared to a lot of other classes, and through the bardic performances, they still manage to retain some of that, like, fantasy of being a bard, right? However, again, personally, it's just not my scene. I'm not a huge fan of it personally, but I do think it is cool for the people that do enjoy it. So with that out of the way, I hope you guys will consider supporting the channel and the creation of more future content by checking out my merch store, which I'll have a link to in the description below. But regardless, truly thank you guys so much for watching. I literally couldn't be doing this without everyone's support. So again, thank you. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.